what the analysis we've done indicates is a minimum volume.
That's what I'm asking. Are you looking 20 years, 50 years?
Yeah, I've done some modelling up to 2035, and thereafter there is a smearing where you end up with an averaging of the age class, and so there you end up with a more consistent harvesting level rather than the peak and trough, because just physically you can't move hundreds of people and machines in and out of large districts.
Councillor Barker.
I'd like to follow up from Councillor Bevan's question. If a new freight link, such as rail, is operating frequently out of Wairoa, would that not pave the way for possibly other industries to access the rail? I'm thinking here possibly about increase in dairy in the area, because one of the reasons of decline in dairy is that Fonterra is reluctant to collect in there, principally because of the road. Now, if we had a regular rail route coming out, it could hook into the dairy trains that go all the way through to Hawera. So, I mean, there are other possibilities that may occur. Are you doing any thinking about that?
Yes, we are looking at other commodities. At the moment, the log opportunity is by far the largest and would be the backbone of it, so that's where we're concentrating the effort. And I think numbers-wise would be 80 to 90% of the tonnage, so that's where we're sort of directing 80 to 90% of the work, yeah.
Sure. And then once you've got the line established and regular routes, then the unit cost of the rest of it will fall. But anyway, that's good. My second question follows up on Councillor Scott's one regarding the business case. You indicated that you had some concerns about this, was the words I think you used, but you didn't elaborate on what those concerns were. I'd be interested for you to expand on that.
I think that that is outlined in here, that the business case drafts presented so far indicate significant early trading losses, which and a significant demand for capital. So I have some concerns that those demands for capital won't be met by NGR.
Could I just follow up the first question that Councillor Barker gave to you? You said 80 to 90% of the volume will be log, but that will cover 100% of the business case?
That's
so
correct.
Meaning anything on top is obviously...
That's exactly right, yes.
So you're not banking on anything on top, but anything that does come on top will be bottom line?
That's right. So what we see is that the successful failure of a Wairoa service will revolve totally around the log business, because it will by itself either make the line profitable or not. There's nothing else that would make it profitable without logs, and if the log volume is carried on the rail, it will be profitable without any other volume.
Further questions? New Councillor Pipe.
Yeah, I realised it was mentioned earlier on with regards to making it into a cycleway, and I know that this report is regarding the freight transport route, focusing on that. But is there any thought or has there been any looking at tourism opportunities when the rail is up and running as well?
I think there's been some discussions or potential for some heritage train trips out of Gisborne, but obviously at the moment we're not really looking at, our suggested focus is the Napier to Wairoa section, so it may be that's something that's for future development, but identified in the business case as an opportunity.
Thank you. Councillor Graham.
You got you may not be, maybe confidential, but a feel for those trading losses, what they are?
Too early.
Yeah, it's too early, and there are a number of drafts presented. Some of them include going to Gisborne, some of them are Wairoa only. So I think it'd be sort of premature to say how to sort of indicate what the financials of the business case would be, but I think NGR are in discussions on with some sources of finance and are trying to design a business case which minimises early trading losses. So it's probably premature to say what the end result will be at this stage.
Just to use the word significant.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it's implied in here that there has been, and maybe still is, some difficulty in getting information and cooperation from other parties, and in particular KiwiRail. Now, my recollection is that KiwiRail said that they would negotiate with us and provide information in good faith. And I guess the question is directed at you and Mr. Cornwall. Is there any substance in that concern? And if so, what is being done to deal with it?
I think there have been some frustrations with getting the information from KiwiRail, and just this week another set of questions were tabled to KiwiRail. So I think we just need to keep putting some pressure on to get those answers promptly. But as indicated in here, there have been some frustrations getting prompt responses from KiwiRail. Yeah.
And Mr. Chairman, are you doing anything about that?
Yeah, well, I've been in discussion yesterday with KiwiRail. One of the issues, and I haven't had this directly, but there's been quite an upheaval in the company over the last 6 weeks or so with redundancies, etc., which the timing of that wasn't ideal, to be blunt.
Well, that's not our problem,
No,
and
it's
they're the
not.
ones that have put the tight deadline on.
Correct. But yeah, it's ongoing. They understand the issue and are working on it, but I haven't been involved in any of the to and fro, if you like, but certainly am concerned and will put more pressure on having a freer flow of information, more timely anyway.
Have you spoken to Peter Reedy?
No, I haven't directly.
You will if necessary.
I will, yes. Just been emailing at this stage.
So along the same lines, has there been any indication from KiwiRail that they are interested in a joint venture of sorts with the Shorten line?
Sorry, the Shorten line,
Wairau.
Wairau to Napier, and in this paper you discuss a joint venture with the port and KiwiRail.
Okay. So we have had some discussions with KiwiRail on a Wairau service only, and we're at the point where we have some draft figures from them, but they're still sort of very preliminary, and it's at a very sort of formative stage.
So can I just put the question again? Is there any indication that there's a willingness for them to enter into a joint venture?
Councillor, I think at this stage, those discussions are probably off the table until we've seen the NGR business case. But really, all we're asking for with this paper is to allow that to proceed. Should the business case not?
And further capital is going to be essential for this to proceed. Attraction of further investment, isn't it?
Councillor Belford.
And my question relates to the comment 12.3 on the rolling stock. How sensitive is the business case to that actually being available from KiwiRail? What happens if it is not? How big an issue is that?
I understand NGR have looked at other options for sourcing wagons, namely from Queensland. So I think they are conscious that if negotiations with KiwiRail are unsuccessful to secure some wagons, they'll have to find some others and have some discussions in that regard underway. So they are looking at other options for wagons.
The assumption that the other options would be more expensive?
I don't know at this stage.
You look ready to go, Councillor Bevan. I just was anticipating something there. Okay, any other questions?
I'm
It's
prepared to
excited
move.
at the beginning
I'm
of
prepared to move,
2015.
Mr. Chairman.
You're happy to move
Yes.
the amendment? Just that bottom piece is not a part of it. That was just reminding us, Councillor Barker's discussion. That's what was resolved at the time. So, so that's not part of the recommendations, just the top piece. So you're happy to move, Councillor Dick?
Yes.
We have a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Scott. You wish to speak?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I think the important thing is that all options are considered and no options are excluded. So I would not like to think that this resolution constrains in any way the work that NGR and Mr. Cornwall are to do. And I don't think that's the intention, is it, Madam CEO? And whilst a shortened line or a log-focused line running up to perhaps Nuhaka is an option, and it's an option that would deal with the real challenge that there is going to be on State Highway 2 in years to come of congestion of log traffic with attendant problems with road safety and so on, and limitation of economic opportunities. The ideal, in my mind, still is a viable line linking Wairoa and Gisborne, and I would hope that Mr. Cornwall and NGR's work will continue with that objective, albeit maybe it's not immediate, maybe it's in the medium term and things have to be staged, but that should be the objective.
Thank you. Councillor Scott, you wish to speak?
I do speak in seconding the motion, obviously in support of it, in that it's a very pragmatic approach to look at as the alternatives, and I particularly note on point 18 that it's within the current budget, so I think that we are really being wise and doing due diligence around all the options. I certainly am concerned to hear of the constraints being put on NGR by Kiwi Rail by not responding timely to information needed to complete a business case. They have set the timelines, they've been very tight timelines, and then they frustrate the timelines. I do question what their role in this is, and do urge you, Mr. Chairman, to use your powers to facilitate a smoother path so that we will actually have a fully informed business case by 3 weeks' time. Otherwise, I do think there is grounds for actually approaching Kiwi Rail for their tardiness over this and blocking our ability to come to a conclusion by the 1st of March. So it's necessary for us to have all the information that we can. Partial information is not going to help us make wise decisions. So I hope that we get an improvement in the position before our next meeting.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Graham.
I just want to make a brief comment that in reading this report, I was very pleased with, it seemed very sensible, and very pleased with that somebody had looked at it in a very objective, independent way. I just got that feeling that we'd kind of moved to a new position. So I look forward to the 18th when you come back, and to that final report. Thanks.
Councillor Hewitt.
Thank you. I too was pleased with this report. It's shown a considerable about face, and it's taken out a number of my concerns, namely that there was a large investigation primarily being done in the Gisborne district, of which Hawke's Bay ratepayers were initially funding. So I was pleased with the about face too. Thank you. The roading from Wairoa to Napier is of huge concern, and there are some real issues there. I don't believe that a rail line is going to fix those issues, and I'm certainly not against any other options being enforced or being encouraged in government, such as improving the roading. But altogether, we've got issues with road bridging and opportunities here as well for rolling stock to be coming out of the area. What I do see though is that we've got some huge problems. I won't be supporting this. The key issue to me is that all exporters commit to this, and I don't see how exporters can commit beyond a speculative arrangement until there's something firmly in place, a commercial business case, which will involve rolling stock being available. And look, my initial phone calls are telling me we've got some serious problems here, so we're not going to be easily attracting investors. I see that that's all part of the ongoing work that you'll be doing, Nick, but my key concern here is with number 18, and we're talking about alternative options. One of them may be a JV between the Napier Port and KiwiRail, and I just think that is way outside our scope as councillors. The reason we have a port, and whether it's at an arm's length relationship or a CCO, or we've got HBRC to look at the port, that research and that strategic planning is part of the port's role. For us to be coming up with business cases and then presenting them to the port is exactly why we have a holding company and directors on the port. So I think we're stepping into the role that the port directors should be doing, and for that reason I'll be voting against the motion. I would suggest that Nick's work is better placed with the port, and I don't think council should be telling the port how to do their job.
Councillor Bevan.
Thank you, Chair. I can remember when we first started talking about the increase in logging requirements between Wairoa and Napier in the middle of last year. On the basis of the numbers that were put in front of us, I can remember doing some calculations and working out that with the increased harvests that were going to happen in the Wairoa area, we were going to be looking at about 250 extra truck movements daily on the Wairoa Napier Road, which I think probably is a level which that road can't really cope with. So I hope that a business case can be made to get our confidence in a business case. However, I am concerned about the long term for this investment, because as Nick has pointed out to us, 90% or 95% even of the justification for this is logging traffic, and in the longer term, and I'm thinking more than 20 years, we need to have something else that substitutes for logs to make this a justifiable case. So I'm certainly interested in this business case to see something that looks out further than just the next 15, 20 years. But I will support the motion.
Councillor Barker.
Thank you, Chair. I will support the motion as well. I understand the concerns raised by Councillor Hewitt, and in normal circumstances I would agree with her, but I think this is a slightly different situation. What we've had here is we've had a government which has been steadfastly against any investigation or engagement on reopening or looking at the Napier-Gisborne rail. And it's been the pressure from the Hawke's Bay Regional Council, generated principally by Councillor Alan Dick, which has created this opportunity where KiwiRail have said we've got until such and such a time to come back with us with a business case. So we are centre stage on this, whether we like it or not, and therefore we have to be the party that makes things happen. If we do not, then the opportunity that presents itself, whether it realises itself or not, will fall away. As far as going to the Port of Napier, the Port of Napier is central in this. The Port of Napier, to restate my position, is the one entity in Hawke's Bay which is expert on logistics above all else. It understands logistics better than any other organisation in this region. And it will have a view itself, and that's why I'm really keen for the Port of Napier to report to us directly its view, which could be quite different from that which it comes from a third party. They are engaged currently in hauling a lot of logs in other areas into the port. They'll understand the numbers, they'll understand the movement of it, they'll understand what is the numbers of logs in Wairoa and what's necessary to make this work. They will be best placed to tell whether this is going to work for them. Bearing in mind that if this is going to work, it's going to have to work for the Port of Napier first and the Napier-Gisborne rail second. They are the key element of this. We have played a role in opening the door, and I think we have to continue to do that. If we step back in any way, this will fall over. And I'm firmly in Alan Dick's camp, Councillor Dick's camp on this. This is the one opportunity we have to explore this to finality. At the end of this, we will know whether this is going to work or not, and we'll put aside all the speculation. So I'm really supportive of this. I think the work that has been done here so far is excellent. I like to see the options explored. I know the timelines are tight, but as with any of these things, there's always challenges. If it was easy, it would have been done last year. It's never going to be easy. There's always going to be bits and pieces that will be missing. We'll have to add up for ourselves and make judgments, but that's the nature of these sorts of beasts. So I think it's really good work. I think you've done a fine job, and I think look forward to a really robust conversation about it sometime later.